doing?
Good.
Good.
Okay.
All right. So we had two picks tonight. Felt good about both picks. Two offensive guys, obviously. The first one was Rasheed Rice, SMU. Explosive, fast twitch kid. Really good with the ball after the catch. He's like a running back after the catch. So he can play inside, he can play outside. So, coaches will find a way to get him involved in the offense, but feel really good about him. And then with the second pick, we took Wanya Morris out of Oklahoma, tackle. Played right tackle at Oklahoma. Also played, he was at Tennessee before the first couple of years, and actually played beside Trey Smith, playing left tackle. So big, long, athletic guy that, will get in the mix here at tackle. So excited about both picks. We got 5 picks here tomorrow, so but feel good about these 2 picks here tonight.
Did you guys feel like defensive line, wide receiver, and offensive tackle were the 3 biggest needs? Are you guys glad to get those 3 checked off the first 2 days of the draft here?
Yeah, there's always a sense of, what you need, but we're really looking at the best value on the board. The first night we took Felix, also, obviously a pass rusher. You can't get enough of those guys. And then we came back. We knew we wanted to take a receiver here in the second round here early. We moved up for Rice, and we're able to get a tackle here in the third. So we felt good about filling the needs, but also staying true to the board too as well.
Mike, what made trading up in both scenarios, appealing for you guys?
So we have a cluster of guys that we were looking at, and we felt like, Beach said, let's just go up and get our guy. So I think heading into this night here, we were targeting some wide receivers, and Rasheed was our guy, so we went up and got him. And that was really it. And then, we got to the third round, and we had a cluster of guys, and we wanted to get a tackle, and Wanya was the guy we were going after.
Mike, what was it about Rice that led you to believe he's going to be a better player than maybe some of the other receivers who were available, particularly the 2 guys from Tennessee?
Yeah, when we looked at him in the fall, and Jason Lamb, our area scout, and Jonathan Howard went in there, just really talented guy. And then we got a chance to see him at the Senior Bowl, got a chance to see him up close live. And, he's a big kid, he's explosive. The one thing he really does, he had like a 41-inch vertical leap. I mean, this kid is explosive. He'll go up and get the football, and then once he catches the ball, you can see he's violent, and he turns into a running back after the catch. And so that's a big part of our offense here. So we felt really comfortable with him. Like I said, got a chance to see him at the Senior Bowl, and then had him in here on a visit as well. And, he met with our offensive staff, and we felt really good about him.
You see kick return potential?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the, he didn't do much of it at SMU, but, he can do that for sure.
Mike, you touched on just the positions you got, but the cliche premium positions, how much does that factor in just going into overall draft strategy as opposed to meeting just maybe exact roster needs?
Yeah, so once again, Sam, you're always looking at the best value on the board, but when you see, those premier positions, like Felix is a pass rusher. So you can't, Coach Reed always says you can't have enough of those guys. Pass rushers, offensive line, defensive line, corners. So yeah, that certainly does come into play, when we're looking at the board is, those premier positions, and the cost is high to get those guys. And it's early in the draft, or if it's in free agency, usually those guys cost a lot. So yeah, that does come into play.
Right. Just secondarily, just how much of what you guys accomplished before this draft do you think allowed you to maybe implement that?
Yeah, I mean, so you have the 2 big acquisition periods. So we had free agency to look at, you at the end of the season, what's the strengths and weaknesses, and what ultimately are our needs. And so, you look at what can we fill in free agency that makes sense, and then heading into the draft, you look at, what the needs are. And, fortunately, we have a pretty good roster here. So, we're just getting really guys that come in here and compete and add depth to the roster right now.
Mike, does By adding Morris tonight, does that sort of solidify that Jawan Taylor will go from right tackle to left tackle next season?
I don't think anything's set in stone right now. You know, we'll get to OTAs and Coach Heck plays these guys everywhere just to kind of see, you know, what's the best five and, you know, who fits where. So, you know, that's all up to Coach Heck and the offensive staff.
Mike, we know about your relationship and Brett's relationship with Patrick Mahomes. There was a number of pass catchers that went down there. It seems like Rice was one of them. How much do you guys weigh the input, and what are some of the things maybe he said he liked about playing with Rice?
He was down there, Rice?
That's what he told us.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That was bad, sorry.
Hey, listen, it's Patrick Mahomes, and everyone's going to want to go out and work with him. You know, think about Pat. You know, he'll go out on the playground and throw the ball around to anyone. So, you know, there's a bunch of players down there, and of course we're going to take Pat's input.
How does that actually work? I mean, they just go down, does he ask him, do you ask him, how does that operate?
You know, Pat's down there. Everyone knows he's down. He's down in the Dallas area, and you know, Rashid was down there in the area. So that, you know, he linked up with Pat, and he went down there to work out with him.
How much is the Morris pick just a bet in a sense on the measurables and some of the traits, and that belief kind of translating to what Andy Heck might be able to do and has done with certain guys?
Yes, he's a big, long, athletic tackle. Played right tackle at Oklahoma, and like I said, he played left tackle at Tennessee when he was there playing next to Trey. So you know, he's got a ton of tools. You know, he's long, he's athletic, he's got the feet. Now he's got to put everything together, and we feel comfortable, you know, with our room here that he'll learn from some of these guys here.
Mike, did his familiarity with Trey factor into your decision at all to bring him here?
Yeah, you know, he did have a relationship with Trey, and I think some of the guys reached out to Trey about him, and then we brought him in here, of course. So, yeah, that does factor into it a little bit. I think Trey was kind of like a big brother to him at Tennessee. So, like I said, you know, we have a really good room in that offensive line room. So, yeah, some of that does come into play.
He's one of these guys who's been to 2 schools, played for like 3 coaches, because there's been a lot of things kind of going on in his life. Is it get here, it's a real stable environment, can be really good for him as well?
Yeah, so when you look at, you always have to look at, you know, the room that they're going to go into. And like I said, we feel like we have a very good room here for him to kind of gravitate, you know, towards and learn from these guys. So, yeah, that does factor into it.
How does what you've accomplished in the first couple of days set you up for tomorrow?
Yeah, so, you know, I think we've filled some needs. You know, certainly there's some other areas of depth on the roster that we have to take care of. And, you know, we have 5 picks tomorrow, so, you know, we'll go to work here in the morning.
What are those areas needing some depth?
You know, you go across the board, you know, can always add more offensive linemen, always add more defensive linemen. Like I said, the premium positions, right? Can't have enough corners, can't have enough safeties, you know, secondary guys. So we're at a point now, we're looking at the board and who's the best player on the board that we can add into the mix that could add some depth to the roster.
We didn't get to talk to you last night. Felix, there was a bunch of edges out there that people kind of had graded well. You guys got one of them. What in particular did you like about him through talking to him and watching tape?
Yeah, no, he's a great kid, you know, self-made kid. You know, he came into Kansas State, he was underweight, and he put on some weight there. And then he just got better along the way as we watched him in the last couple of years. And he's relentless as a pass rusher. And it's kind of funny, you know, I was looking at him in the fall, and he's got that, you know, 91 number, and all I could think of was Tamba, because, you know, I was here with Tamba, and he does play a lot like him, you know, so, you know, and, you know, local kid, and he's going to work, and he's still a young kid, so I still think he has a lot of room to grow, but, you know, excited to get him here.
Mike, can you elaborate what similarities you see in his game from Tamba's game?
He's relentless, and that's how Tamba was. You know, he just found a way to the quarterback, you know, constantly trying to get off blocks. You know, he's got a little bit of slither to him, too, like Tamba did. But really just that relentless motor kind of reminded me of Tamba.
Karlaftis like that?
George is just like that, yeah.
Were you able to see him in person in Manhattan?
You know what, I saw him here at the local pro day here for the first time, and got a chance to visit with him and talk with him. You know, he's an impressive young man, and it's going to be great to add him to the group here with all these other guys.
Mike, what do you feel like you learned most about Rice throughout this process?
You know, you watch the tape, it just jumps out to you. You know, the physical traits, right? You can go up and get the football, and but you also want to, you know, try to get. You really don't know until you get them in the building and the coaches start meeting with them. The football intelligence piece is a big part of it. So, you know, when we go through the whole process, it's, you know, first we're watching the film and grading the player on the film. But then, you know, you have to also bring the person in here to see if he's going to be a culture fit, you know, to see if he's capable of, you know, picking up the offense here. And he checked all the boxes.
Last one.
How do you feel like Rashee fits in with the wide receivers you already have? And you mentioned that after the catch stuff, is that what he brings is maybe different than what you already have on the roster?
Yeah, you know, Tony brings a lot of that too. But you know, he's versatile, which is good. You know, he can play outside, he can play inside. You know, he's just a physical receiver that we can really add into the mix here. You know, a little bit bigger, so he can play in the slot. But he could also play outside. So we really like the versatility that he brought to the table for us.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.